Alright, y'all know what it is. It's time for another strategy breakdown. Today we're talking Lava Loon, LaLo, or LaLo is what I like to call it. Specifically Queen Walk LaLo. If you wanted Sui LaLo, then forget about it. Especially without siege machines, Sui LaLo is useless. So the concept of LaLo is pretty similar to Hogs if you're familiar. Balloons target defenses just like Hogs. So in order to path them through the base, you need to funnel out a section of the base for them to move through, more often in an L-shaped direction like so. Since at Town Hall 9 you can queen walk, air versus ground becomes a pretty important decision, and ultimately it will help decide what kind of attacker you choose to be. If you prefer ground, your army of choice will likely be Hogs. If you prefer air, LaLo. Though many people say LaLo is stronger than Hogs at Town Hall 9 because loons don't get an upgrade into Town Hall 10, you can't go wrong with going either way. However, of the two, LaLo is by far the more difficult strategy to execute, and probably the most difficult strategy to execute. The cool part about using LaLo over Hogs, and I guess the reason why you would use LaLo over Hogs, is that you really only need to deal with one hero through the entire attack. The enemy king is pretty much absolute in any air strategy, and you can literally just fly over him. I'm a ground attacker, specifically Hogs, so I don't really run LaLo much, but when I do, these are my standard cops. At Town Hall 10, 5 healers, 1 lava hound, 20 balloons, 10 minions, 1 baby drag for funneling, 5 wall breakers, a CC hound, and a loon. At Town Hall 11, bring more loons. Spells are as follows: 3 rages for your queen walk, 3 haste, 1 freeze, 1 poison for defending CC. If you bring your own, I recommend at least a level 3, and a CC freeze or poison if yours sucks. At Town Hall 11, your 3rd rage is in your CC, bring an extra freeze and haste. At Town Hall 9, your comp is the following: 4 healers, 26 balloons, 7 minions, 1 baby dragon for funneling, 5 wall breakers, a max CC hound, and this is very important. If you want to go 8-4 on your minions and bombers, you can, and if you really need the extra hound, drop some balloons. Spells are as follows: 3 rages for your queen walk, 3 haste, and a CC poison for defending CCs. You really don't need a freeze at Town Hall 9. Across all town halls, if you choose to bring an extra poison for skelly traps that group up on your balloons, go ahead and drop a rage, bring another freeze, or haste if you currently have 3 or less. Keep in mind, especially in war, all of this is base dependent. Determine what you need and don't need based on the base design and make changes accordingly. If you need help doing so, ask. Alright, so how do I want to fly? Well, first, you need to set your funnel. In my hybrid video, which if you haven't seen, I recommend doing so, I talked about the key objectives of a queen walk for a hybrid. Enemy CC, heroes, splash damage. LaLo is no different. You must take out the enemy CC, especially if it's an E-drag, otherwise you're royally fucked. You must take out the enemy CC, otherwise she will pick off all of your balloons, and any splash damage you can get off your balloons is a plus. Otherwise, haste them through. So you set your funnel. Now you want to fly in parallel with your queen. What I mean by that is this: identify which direction she is walking. You want to fly your way around in that same direction from the other side in which she started her walk. Reason being is you want to get the most out of her in the back end as well. If you send the LaLo towards her targets, yes, you take the defenses off of her and it'll help her keep her alive, but you've also just stolen all of her targets and she'll have to backtrack. Therefore, you've lost all of her value. Start adjacent and fly to meet up with your queen in the back end. This will allow her to get a head start in cleaning up in the back end, while the minions and lava pups from the hound begin cleaning up on the other side. Alright, so let's go over to my strategy for this war attack I did at Town Hall 10. This was from the same war as the hybrid video. For this base, I went with the following: 4 wall breakers, 20 balloons, 1 wizard, 5 healers, 1 baby dragon, 9 minions to help clean up, 1 hound, and a CC hound loon. Spells are as follows: 2 rages, 1 jump, 1 poison, 4 haste, and a CC freeze. Alright, so let's get right into it. Phase 1, queen walk. This walk isn't as detailed as the hybrid walk, but it's still just as essential to the success of the attack. So my objectives: number 1, walk the queen from this 9 o'clock section and wall break her into the base. In order for her to go where I want her to, baby dragon and king on either side to form the funnel. Baby dragon on the 9 to 6 side, king at 10:30, and a wizard to help assist the gold storage. In pathing this way, she'll eliminate the following: this whole compartment, a second wizard tower here, air sweeper, air defense, enemy queen, and CC. The next step: jump spell into the next compartment. The target here, multi-inferno and backside air defense. Again, all of this should be done within the first minute of the attack, otherwise you risk a time fill. Alright, so here's the term that many of you probably aren't familiar with: coconut loon. What is it? A coconut loon, or cocoa loon, is a balloon you deploy ahead of your healers to search for air mines, particularly the black seeking air mines that can one-shot your healers. The logic behind it is better to lose 5 camp space in a balloon to a SAM than 14 space to a healer. And also, if you value the queen walk, which you should, then keeping the healers alive is just as an equal a priority as keeping your queen alive. Okay, so on to phase 2, LaLo. Once the enemy queen and CC are dealt with, it's time to start this phase of the attack. I want to fly adjacent to the queen following this L-shaped path here. Typically, you want to send in your hound before your loons to tank any air traps and air targeting defenses, particularly the air defense. The only time where you would send in balloons first is where there's a safe distance between defenses and where you deploy the balloons, and if you know there are no traps in the area, in which case you can give your balloons a head start over the hound. So the hound is deployed, balloons will follow behind, assisted by haste spells to move through the base. Haste spells are used for your balloons. They should be used in the initial push into the base, after that into any remaining splash defenses and ADs. If you brought a freeze, you want to freeze splash damage. If you brought multiple, then maybe thinking about using one for the hound, for example, to keep it alive if it's locked onto a single inferno, though this isn't necessary. Now I guess this is what gives LaLo such a steep learning curve. When you deploy your balloons, you want to direct target as many defenses as possible in your initial push. Best case scenario, you one-shot all defenses in your initial push. In order to do this, you need to understand and keep in mind the minimum number of balloons in order to do so. Use this key reference for your deployment. Mortars and bomb towers require 2 balloons for one shot, cannons and archers 2 to 3, wizard towers for expos and infernos 5. With this in mind, make sure to deploy your balloons in groups as opposed to a line. Doing so is the key to direct targeting defenses, and the more you can direct target, the faster and more efficient your initial push will be, which ultimately will lead to more success in the attack. Typically, groups of 4 to 5 will do just fine. Same as the hybrid, you want to get this down at around the 2-minute mark, otherwise you risk a time fail. Okay, so now it's time for phase 3, cleanup. This phase happens right as you finish your initial push into the base. You want to get your minions down to begin cleanup as soon as possible. As your balloons pass through the base, they will also protect your minions as they clean up trash behind left by the balloons, because remember, balloons only target defenses. The sooner you can get your minions down, the more time you will ultimately save. Around this time, your lava hound will also have popped and released lava pups, which will start assisting in your cleanup. After that, it's time to pray. Okay, so let's get right into this replay. Okay, so the baby dragon and the king are going to start off the funnels. Wizard will follow behind for that cold storage. He's going to come down. And I'm going to go for this wall break right here. And failed wall break, which forces me to use my jump here instead of on that compartment, which is fine. I haven't dropped my healers yet, if you noticed. I'm waiting for aggro on my queen, and there it is. If you don't wait for the aggro, then you risk the healers moving off to the king. Coca-Loon comes down, and this is what I mean. I'm looking for those red air bombs with those seeking air mines. There, I just found a red air bomb. A second Coca-Loon comes down because I know that there's a both a red air bomb and a seeking air mine in this area, so that's what it's searching for. There's that air bomb, and there's the seeking air mine. CC comes down, and it's and I'm dealing with it right now. Poison comes down for the CC, as I'm dealing with that. Rage comes down to get through all this, to all this firepower in this area. Okay, so pause right here. Before I get into what I'm about to say, I want to make note of the time at the start of the raid. 3 minutes, which means the attack went down to the very last second. Take a look at the time when I started the LaLo. 1 minute, 49 seconds. And if you remember what I preach, then you already know I'm risking a time fail here. Between the time the full CC was pulled to the LaLo deployment, a whole 20 seconds. Especially with the LaLo deployment being parallel to the queen block, that's very poor timing. Although they got some slack, had I gotten the wall break, then the jump would have came down here and my queen wouldn't be beaten through this wall, saving an enormous amount of time. But regardless, as soon as you know it's safe to start the LaLo, start the LaLo. Don't wait if you don't have to. Get your shit down. End of story. Just do it, okay?
Just do it!
Moving on. Alright, so LaLo comes down. I decided to deploy the balloons first. Looking back now, I probably should have just deployed the hound first because that archer tower just stayed aggro on my balloons the entire time. This first haste was kind of wasted. The only value it got was getting to that archer tower. I was trying to get it into the inferno, but it moved out to the mortar, which that left group got anyway. So that was kind of useless there. That's my fault. Freeze comes down on that inferno to keep my hound alive for a little bit, and so I can get my balloons in. Haste comes down. This last haste right here could have been used on top of that air sweeper, getting into the sweeper, expo, and blast with the tower right there. Yeah, you live and you learn, I guess. So it's kind of coming down to the wire. Clean up on the backside is going all right. The sweeper's still being kind of annoying, but everything else is dealt with. The queen is still alive. I popped the rage in front of her so that she can get through these defenses a little bit faster. She's going to go for the wizard tower pretty second. Actually, she's going to aggro the king first. Ninja's still flying around. Queen pops her ability, gets to the king, and yeah, we have 30 seconds left. And right at this point, I'm sweating because there's not a lot of time. There's still a lot to clean up. Town hall's still standing, so I'm risking a 1-star here. Okay, queen's gonna get through the wall finally. 10 seconds left. Gonna get to the archer tower. Gonna go to the cannon. Minions get the sweeper down. Is it gonna be enough time? Is there enough time? And yep, time fail. 98% 1-star, and that's something you really hate to see. Lost about I lost about 10 to 15 seconds on the failed wall break and another 20 seconds or so in starting the LaLo late. So without those hiccups, if you think about it, this base goes down with time to spare. But overall, it was a good job adapting on the fly. Just a few miscues personally that I need to work on. Let this also be an example for you for what not to do. I've laid out potential mistakes that come with using this attack strategy. Identify those mistakes and learn how to avoid them. Another contributor to the time fail, look at my troop levels. In particular, level 5 minions and level 2 haste. Yeah, that's Town Hall 9 equivalents. Not good. If those were Town Hall 10 level troops, then maybe this 3 stars, even with all my miscues. Another lesson here, don't neglect your lab. Alright, so unfortunately those mistakes cost me the 3 star here and also the 6-pack in this war. Fuck. Lesson learned, but yeah, that's LaLo for you. I'd say the concept is pretty universal from Town Hall 9 to Town Hall 13, so definitely if there's any attack you should learn, it's this one. Of course, this also comes with a very steep learning curve, but it's an attack that's always been strong and will continue to be from now to the end of the game. Just understand, if you choose to pick up LaLo, the biggest key to success is patience. As I've been saying and will continue to say, the degree of difficulty for LaLo is very high and is definitely not a strategy you should bring to war for your first go around with it. It's not like the Town Hall 9 Avalanche or Town Hall 10 Dragbat BS that I pulled out of my ass, which, by the way, very lucky I got those triples. This attack is very technical and requires a ton of patience. So yeah, get out there, give it a try in multiplayer raids, friendly challenges, etc. And also, probably most important, get your queen levels up. If you have any questions, let me know. In the future, if there's a guide you want to see me make, drop a suggestion in the Discord request room and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. Otherwise, take it easy.